بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Inshallah ta'ala, today we will enter into our book, that is the book of Fathul Qareeb, written by Al-Imam Muhammad bin Qasim Al-Ghazi rahimahullah ta'ala. So before we enter into this book, there are a few things that we need to be aware of. That this particular book comprises of two authors. So number one, we have the text, the matan. Number two, we have the sharah. The matan is a small compilation which is known as the matan of Abu Shuja. The matan of Abu Shuja, or it is known as Ghayatu Qareeb. By Al-Imam Ahmad bin Al-Husayn. Imam Abu Shuja, and his name is Ahmad bin Al-Husayn bin Ahmad, and he is known as Abu Shuja. So Abu Shuja is not his name. Abu Shuja is a nickname. Arabs they love any nicknames. So this is the first author. He was born in the year 533 Hijriya. 533 Hijriya, passed away in the year 593. So Al-Imam Abu Shuja, in the later part of his years, it is said that he works as khadim in the mosque of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the later part of his years, in today's terms, we say he becomes a cleaner. Where? At the maqam of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he passed away in Medina. So this Imam is known for his piety and knowledge and sincerity. And this book, Matan Abu Shuja, is taught all over the world. In the world today, you find people learning Abu Shuja, Matan of Abu Shuja. And it is translated to many languages. And usually the first book in the Madhab Imam Shafi'i, people study the Matan of Abu Shuja. Even in Singapore, for many years, in our madrasas. Whether it is Madrasa Al-Junaid or Madrasa Gaf. For many years, the students in the secondary level, they study the Matan of Abu Shuja and the commentary of Khatib Shirbini, Al-Iqna. And this a book I recommend you that you buy. Actually, I wanted to put into the WhatsApp group. My recommendation I need to buy also alongside with Hashia Baijuri. Get the book Al-Iqna. Al-Iqna Sharh Abi Shuja. This is written by Sheikh Khatib Shirbini. And this book is always advice about ulama. And inshallah, once you have any of those books, occasionally we will read from it. Then we can see. So this is the first author. The author of the matan is Al-Imam Abu Shuja. What is his name? Ahmad bin Al-Husayn. So he was born in the year 533. MashaAllah, long time ago. Correct, not? 533, and he is about in the time of Al-Imam Ghazali. And then came the second author. The second author, and his name is Muhammad bin Qasim. Muhammad bin Qasim bin Muhammad. This is the second author. And he is known as Ibn Qasim. Sheikh Ibn Qasim. Why any Sheikh and Ibn Qasim? Because his name is Muhammad bin Qasim. And he is known to be Al-Ghazi, because his ancestors and he is from Gaza, Palestine. But he stayed in Qahira. He stayed in Egypt, Qahira. And during his time, Egypt is considered to be the capital of the Islamic world in terms of knowledge. So after the fall of the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad, the Caliphate of knowledge moved from Baghdad to Qahira. This history also important. If you have time, read up on this. So during this time, many of our scholars came out from there. Scholars from all over the world come to Egypt, to Qahira, and to seek knowledge. That is why at one point of time in Egypt, it is called Qiblatul Ilm, the Qibla of knowledge. Al-Imam Suyuti, the time of Al-Imam Suyuti, Al-Imam Sheikh Ibn Hajar Al-Haythami, Sheikh Ibn Hajar Al-Asqalani, Sheikh Zakaria Al-Ansari, and his students, Al-Imam Mahalli, all these names that we are familiar. Most of them live during that time, and they are in the same place, Qahira. But now situation is different, not like last time. Because last time the capital of knowledge is in Qahira. Because last time we have the caliphate. Now we don't have caliphate. So whenever you have a caliphate, the capital of knowledge will move. For many years he was in Baghdad. But we know what happened to Baghdad. The Mongols came and destroyed everything. They burned Baitul Hikmah to the ground. And they took the books. And this, subhanallah, these Mongols, even books are not spared. La ilaha illallah. Not only they kill people and children, but even they destroy civilization. They burn the books and threw the books in Dijla. It is said until the water become black in color because of the ink. And this person in Hulagu Khan, they said, this is a retribution for your Muslims. Allah send me, he said. Who said this? Hulagu Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan. And this happened in the year 1258. I do not know whether I mentioned to this class. My university professor, he told us to memorize 3 dates. He told us to memorize 3 dates. Number 1, the beginning of the crusade. Number 2, the date when Mongol ransacked Baghdad, the fall of Baghdad. Number 3, the Spanish Reconquista. Why? Because these 3 events changed the world, changed the flow of history. And we are affected by it until today. Whether you realize it or you don't realize it. The Spanish Reconquista is the beginning of colonization. And they learn a lot from the Muslims in Spain. And then when they get any weapons, they begin to conquer any other lands under the name colonization. And we are affected also by that, correct? No? And the Europeans came over this part of the world. And it changed our deen in a way. It changed how we think until today. We do not have colonization now, but our minds are colonized. So we have to get out of this colonization. And one of the ways is study history. Ala kulli hal. This is not anything we are going to talk about all the way. This is just something that I want to inform you about the importance of learning this history, because all these things have its relationship with fiqh. You know, Sheikh Ali Jum'ah, he said when you study fiqh, it must be studied with history. I find this very interesting. And he said that you have to learn any fiqh alongside with history and the Arabic language. Because understanding any history, then we will appreciate the knowledge that we seek for. Now when we go back to the second author, that is Al-Imam Muhammad bin Qasim. Muhammad bin Qasim bin Muhammad bin Muhammad is his name. He's known as Sheikh Ibn Qasim Al-Ghazi. So he was in Qahira, and he was born in the year 859. Yani Sheikh Abu Shuja, and he was born in the year 533. So basically he comes how many years later? 300 years later. And he decided to write a commentary on the matan of Abu Shuja. And he wrote many books. And he is famous for his hashia on the Aqaid of Nasafiyya. And Sheikh Ibn Qasim is a mutakallim. Last week I spoke about the meaning of mutakallim. Mutakallim is a scholar in Kalam. He is a faqih and mutakallim. And he wrote hashia on Aqaid Nasafiyya. Until today, the book is still available. So he passed away in the year 918 Hijriya. So this is Sheikh Ibn Qasim. He wrote the book Fathul Qareeb Sharh Ghayat Taqreeb. This is the book that we are going to study. And then came the third author. The third author is known as Al-Imam Al-Bayjuri. Al-Imam Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Ahmad. Ibrahim bin Muhammad bin Ahmad Al-Bajuri. Yani because he comes from a place that is known as Bajur. Yani one of the cities in Egypt. Masri. And he was a sheikh of Al-Azhar during his time, until he passed away. He was a sheikh of Al-Azhar. And he witnessed colonization. Sheikh Ibrahim Bajuri. La ilaha illallah. Sheikh Ibrahim Al-Bajuri, he witnessed colonization, because before him the French came into Egypt in the late 18th century, yani after the French Revolution. So when Napoleon Bonaparte came to power, of all the places, he decided to go to Egypt, and he conquered Iskandariya. The French conquered Iskandariya and entered into Cairo. And when he entered into Cairo, Sheikh Ibrahim al-Bajuri, and he was a student, and he small student. And at that particular time, the Sheikh of Azhar is Al-Imam al-Sharqawi. So he met Napoleon Bonaparte. So Napoleon and Bonaparte conquered basically Cairo for some time. And then after that came the Egyptians, and they fought against him. They managed to get back Egypt. Then came the British. So it was the British, and when they came into Egypt, they changed the syllabus of all the things that they do. Guess what? They attacked the syllabus of the Azhar. You know why? This thing Sheikh Buti mentioned in his book Kubra al-Yaqiniyat, in the Muqaddimah. And it's very important because it is affecting us until today. You need to understand the history of Egypt in this regard. So the British, when they came into Egypt, they wanted to conquer Egypt, of course. but they find resistance. And then they study where this resistance any come from. Why any people are so passionate about the religion. The early Europeans, they were amazed. Why Muslims are like that, like fanatic to them. So they decided to study. Why? What is the reason? They go to the ground, meet people, ask them questions, do surveys. Then they found out why any these people are fanatics. They love their religion so much, they're willing to die for their religion. They found out that it was the ulama. It was the ulama. The ulama was one who motivated them, behind them. And when they look at the ulama, they found out that the ulama, they have this system in Egypt where you can study from the beginning till the end to become any ulama. So they say we must destroy this. Because if we don't destroy this, we will not solve this problem. And people have a resistance towards us. Because this system will give birth to more alim, then we cannot solve any of our problems in conquering them. So we want to conquer their minds after conquering their lands. Clear, inshallah? So what do? They go to Azhar. Because they found out that these ulama are from this place. This is the mamba. In Arabic, we call it mamba, like what? Like water, what do you call it? The place where the water come out. The origin, source, anyhow. This is the source. This is the source of their knowledge. And in this manhaj of Azhari manhaj, the traditional Azhari manhaj. So they decided to change. How did they do it? This is mentioned by Sheikh Buti, anyway. If you want a reference, you can read in Sheikh Buti. He mentioned about this from the beginning till the end. Sheikh Buti is one of the scholars who made the effort to speak about this before he was killed. He exposed. But even if I'm killed, I become shaheed. Sometimes certain knowledge. Wallahu alam. Some people find it very sensitive. Ala kulli hal. So they change the manhaj of Azhar. How do they change? By taking out people and putting in people. And then they look at the younger generation. They sponsor them to study in the West. So they get a few students who are smart. They say that we will provide for you everything and pay for you. You don't have to pay a single cent. We send you to England. So they start to give their own version of Islam. And when these people come back, they are given authority in fatwa. So now because the British is in charge, the British has a hand in it. They can change whoever they want. They put in their people and they take out the hardcore ones. Over time, what happens? They dilute the manhaj of Azhar. Dilute. And they say this manhaj of Azhar, traditional, backward. Look at the West. We have modernization. What is this, you Muslim? You must change. You need to study any philosophy. Study any about modernism. Because all these things are backwardness. And many scholars are influenced. They are scholars. And start propagating and change the system of education in Egypt. Until they were successful after 30 years. They managed to turn over. So no more khalas. Manhaj of Azhar al-Qadim, no more. Until today, no more. Today, people like Sheikh Ahmad Azhari speak about this. He said, yes, we lost this tradition, but we are trying to revive it. Sheikh Ali Juma, the former Mufti Egypt, speak about this. If you don't believe me, listen. A lot of people are speaking about this. It's not a secret anymore. A lot of people know this. But they are trying to revive this in Egypt until today. And they are facing resistance until today because of secularism. Because Egypt is secular until today. And they are waging war against this until today. Clear, inshallah? And this is an important part of history. طيب. So Sheikh Ibrahim al-Bajuri, during his time, this manhaj is still preserved. This is the thing we have to understand. If you look at Sheikh Bajuri, you'll be amazed by his knowledge. If you read his books, mashallah. I mean, it's another level. This kind of scholars, we say, is on another level. Clearly. Yani if you read his books, and you read any of the books of the ulama who came before him, it's not the same. You know, in Hadramaut, any scholars in Hadramaut love any Imam Bajuri, and to the core. To the core. That's why when we study Fathul Qareeb, they make sure we buy Hashia, Bajuri. They love any Imam and Bajuri. Because Al-Imam Bajuri is known as Al-Mudaqqiq. You know Al-Mudaqqiq. Yani when he speaks about something, yani he goes to the finest any details. This is Imam Bajuri. And this is amazing. When he wrote books in Aqidah, Al-Imam Bajuri wrote Hashia on Jawhara Tawheed. Jawhara Tawheed is written by Sheikh Ibrahim Laqani. Al-Imam Bajuri wrote a Hashia. And in this Hashia is known as Tuhfatul Murid. And it is only one of the best in written. I still remember last time when we read with Habib Ahmad bin Smith, Hashia Bajuri, Tuhfatul Murid, Ala Jawhari Tawheed. Subhanallah, I tell you, I didn't understand a thing. I attend class. I read. La ilaha illallah. I told Habib Ahmad, I say, Habib, I don't understand. He said, it's okay. Now you don't understand. Just read. Yeah, I think I told you this story, right? During the first lesson. Correct. And this one thing I learned from him. Because he said that when he was with Sheikh Umar al-Khatib last time, also same thing. I think he was reading Majmu of Imam Nawawi with Sheikh Umar. So he told Sheikh Umar, I don't understand. Sheikh Umar, and he told him, Ikra. Yani just read. Later on, and you will understand. So he said, later on, I understood. And this is the beauty of reading. That is why in knowledge you have to be brave. You have to be brave and need to dive in a deep ocean. But everything, and if you are scared, I want to learn Arabic, Arabic very difficult, then you cannot have knowledge. Correct? I mean, you want to learn a certain thing, but you see, this thing, everything in Arabic, and then very complex. Then you can never get knowledge. But you must be brave. You must say, Inshallah, and Allah will give understanding. I just put in effort. Let's jump into it. Then inshallah there is hope. And that is why Imam Ghazali mentioned in Munkis Min ad-Dalal. Have you heard the book Al-Munkis Min ad-Dalal? One of the last books Imam Ghazali wrote before he passed away. What did he say in the Muqaddimah? The Muqaddimah, and he was very inspiring. You know what he said? He said, I dive in the deepest ocean that nobody dare to dive. And I managed to come out. And I have this zeal to study every ideology. This is what Imam Ghazali said. He dived into everything. Study and learn. And go into the dangers. But of course, mashallah, Imam Ghazali is... Imam Ghazali is... ulama mentioned Ujubatul Zaman. Some of scholars also don't encourage this, and because sometimes you're so afraid, and if you dive too deep, also a problem. You don't come out. Just now I was sharing with the second year students about Shia. Because Shia, some scholars in Hadramaut, what they did was they glue some parts of history, of Islamic history, that has to do with the issues between Muawiyah and Sayyidina Ali. Why? Because they are afraid their children might be influenced by the narrative of the Shia. So I just give the example to them. We need to have certain foundations, then we go. Correct? That is why we must have guidance. But Alhamdulillah, last time we have people like Habib Ahmad bin Smith, we are so happy. But when he passed away in Singapore, it's like a big musibah. khalas. Nobody like him and he came after him. Right or not? In Singapore, there are few any ulama. When they pass away, nobody take over. Nobody give place now. And this is the situation. And we can see the difference when they are around and they are not around. Right or not? That is why the Prophet ﷺ, when he mentioned the ulama, how did Allah take away knowledge? By the death of the ulama. And this is what we are experiencing today. What we are experiencing today, and alim when he passed away, nobody any place him. Musibah. And then the next any alim comes, he also passes away. And then nobody replace him. Now he becomes lesser and lesser and lesser. We pray that Allah bless us with tawfiq inshallah. So now when you're going back to Sheikh al-Bayjuri. So Sheikh al-Bayjuri is the third author. He is the Muhashi. We call it the Muhashi. He wrote the Hashia. He was born in the year 1784 Masihi. So 17th century or 18th century. That is equivalent to 1198 Hijriya. And he wrote many books. You can read about Sheikh Bayjuri. And he passed away in the year Gregorian calendar 1860. 1860. So is he near to us? This is a big Imam. Our ulama he mentioned and he wrote books as though he is in the time of the Salaf. This great Imam. As though he is in the time of the Salaf. He passed away 1860. How many years before us? During the time Habib Noor, basically. Correct. Habib Noor passed away when? Anybody knows? Habib Noor al-Habshi. About that time, if not mistaken. So this great Imam when he passed away. And he was said, after he passed away, then this fitna starts in Egypt. So our ulama today, they always use Al-Imam Bayjuri as the boundary. As the boundary. The books written before Bayjuri and the books written after Bayjuri, it's not the same anymore. Because as what I mentioned, there is a revolution that happened in Egypt and attack on the manhaj, the tradition and the manhaj. So the dilution comes after this age. And that is when the British are the conquerors of Egypt. Until the coming of Muhammad Abduh. This is also another history you read. Muhammad Abduh when he comes as the result. And then came some people after him. A big revolution happened after that. Clear inshallah? Which I do not want to go into that because that is so too lengthy. Taib. So now inshallah we will enter into the book Fathul Qareeb. So I need one person to volunteer to read. Anyone? Bismillah. Today we read the Muqaddimah. And this is part of the practice to read books without shackle. Because this is our objective. So that is why I don't really recommend translation. But if you can buy translation, there is Fathul Qareeb translation. Translation to assist you on certain words. Anybody? I think before this I mentioned about the Muqaddimatul Kitab, the 8 things. Did I mention? Last week, right? I mentioned the 8 things in Muqaddimah. Okay, maybe I run this thing very fast. Number 1, write this down. Number 1 is Basmala. Number 2 is Hamdallah. Number 3, Salawat upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Taslim. Number 4, Salawat upon his family and companions. Number 5, the name of the kitab. Name of the kitab. Number 6, the name of the author. Number 7, Bara'atul istihlal. Did I mention this in this class? No, huh? Okay. Bara'atul istihlal. Number 8, the reason why this book is written. Number 9, amma ba'du. Number 9, amma ba'du. So in the Muqaddimah, this 8 or 9 things are there. Sometimes it's mentioned as 8, if we put salawat upon the family and the companions as one with the before. Usually they mention any 8 things. So these are the things that are present in the Muqaddimah of a book. So our ulama, and when they write books, they make sure these 8 things or 9 things are present. So number 1 is the basmala. That's what we see. I have spoken about basmala, right? Haven't you? So sorry, I have I think about 4 or 5 classes. Sometimes you have to remind me. Okay, maybe I will just touch a bit on the basmala. I think most of you know. The basmala, the ba, is either we say ba lil isti'ana or ba lil musahaba. When we say bismillah, either we meant asta'inu billah or we meant bismillah tabarukan. So if we say bismillah, meaning I ask Allah for assistance, we say this ba lil isti'ana. Isti'ana meaning asking Allah for assistance. Asking Allah for assistance. So for example, if I say katabtu bil qalami, this ba lil isti'ana, meaning I write by using the pens as a means. Meaning I write by the pen. Clear? This ba here lil isti'ana. But there is another meaning. Another meaning is musahaba. Musahaba, I say bismillah, meaning I intend to write the name of Allah or to say the name of Allah as a sign of barakah in the action that I'm doing. This one we say musahaba. Tabarukan. Why do we say bismillah when we eat? Yani to get the barakah. By saying the name of Allah before we eat, Allah will give barakah to the action of eating. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ, when he mentioned Kullu amrin zibal la yubda'u fihi bi bismillahir rahmanir rahim fahu aqta. Any action of importance that is not begun by the basmala, aqta. Aqta meaning cut off any from barakah. So some ulama mentioned musahaba is stronger than isti'ana. So they prefer musahaba over isti'ana, although both meanings are correct. Because isti'ana also carries a high significance in Islam. Because in the Quran, and it will say, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. To you we worship and to you nasta'in. What's the meaning nasta'in? We seek assistance. So this conscience of always seeking assistance from Allah is something that is highly emphasized in the Quran. So this is the meaning of Bismillah. We have the word Ism, and it comes from the word Sumu. Sumu, meaning exalted. So we say, I ask the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most exalted. And then we have the meaning of Allah. Did I say this last lesson? No. The meaning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the meaning of Allah? Anyone? All this you study in Qareeb Bahiyya last time. Allah. We cannot forget, Allah is our Lord. Correct? What is the meaning of Allah? We cannot afford to forget this. This is one of the most important thing in our lives, to understand our Creator. Who is Allah? What is if you can say, definition or the meaning of the word Allah? What is it? Anybody? If a person and he asks you what is the definition of the word Allah, what do we say? Who is Allah? What do we say? Allah is alamun lidhati. Have you heard this? Alamun lidhati wajibil wujud. The word in Allah is alam. What is alam? Innahu, alam is a name. Correct? No? Alam is one of the ma'rifah, branches of ma'rifah. Al-Imam Musibawi, he mentioned in his book that the most known of alam is Allah. There is a story. When he passed away, somebody saw him in his dream. Al-Imam Musibawi. So he was asked, what made you enter Jannah, Ya Imam? He said, because I mentioned in my book Al-Kitab, and he wrote in a book Al-Kitab. And our scholars, and he mentioned that this book, yani he is like Imam Abul Hasan in Aqidah, basically Imam Musibawi, but he is Nahwi. Our ulama, and he mentioned nothing any after Al-Kitab is like Al-Kitab. Yani it covers any every aspect of Nahu. The scholars any who came any after him have nothing any to add more. He completed it. Khalas. Yani he is a compiler. Al-Imam Sibawi. And he's a Persian, not an Arab. Sibawi. Anyway, Sibawi is a nickname. Find out his real name. Sibawi is a Persian word. He said that Allah make me enter Jannah. Why? Because I mentioned in my book Al-Kitab that Allah yani is a'raful ma'arif. A'raful ma'arif. And in Nahu you learn ma'rifah, right? Chapter ma'rifah nakira. What is a'raful ma'arif? What is the meaning when we say a'raful ma'arif? Yani what is in the chapter of ma'rifah that is the most known? So he said Allah. Yani there is a story about this. It was said that he entered Jannah because of this. Because he was the first person to say that. Allahu Alam. He mentioned that in his Al-Kitab. He wrote a book, he named the book Al-Kitab. Clear inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the name Allah is Alam. Alam. A'raful ma'arif. And in Nahu we say this A'raful ma'arif. Alamun li dhati wajibil wujud. It is a name that signifies an entity that is necessary in its existence. Can all of you write this down? Allah's in existence and is necessary. What is the meaning? Last time when we studied this, existence, and how many types of existence are there in Aqidah? All these things and you have to give advice, huh? Farid Bahia. Very important. How many types of existence are there? Can I ask? Just give me the number. How many? Yeah? 2? There's one more. But this one more, something that cannot exist. But it is part of the types of existence. We say types of existence. There are 3. Number 1 is wajib. Number 2, guess what? I think by this a lot of you know already. Wajib. Number 2, mumkin or jaiz. Number 3, mustahil. So these are the types of existence. Wajib, mumkin or jaiz, and mustahil. So we have wajibul wujud and mumkinul wujud or jaizul wujud. When it comes into mustahilul wujud, any meaning something that cannot exist. So it is non-existent. But when it comes to wajibul wujud, the meaning is what? The meaning of wajibul wujud, yani an existence that does not accept any form of non-existence. This is wajibul wujud. Only Allah is wajibul wujud. Other than Allah is mumkinul wujud. Mumkinul wujud is something that accepts existence and non-existence, but not at the same time. Not at the same time. Either it accepts existence or non-existence, and it can accept any existence, it can accept any non-existence. Clear, inshallah? This is called what? Mumkinul wujud. So are we wajibul wujud or mumkinul wujud? We are. What is the ruling of our existence? If I ask you, ma hukmu wujudika? MashaAllah, this is a question in Aqidah, like that. Ma hukmu wujudika? Anta. Huh? If a person then asks you, for example, ma hukmu wujudika? What is the ruling of your existence? We just need to answer what? Mumkin. Or jaiz. I am jaizul wujud. You are also jaizul wujud or mumkinul wujud. What is the meaning? And when I say I am jaizul wujud, the ruling of my existence and is jaiz. What is the meaning? Meaning my existence is preceded by non-existence. That's the meaning. So I accept existence and non-existence. So anything that accepts existence and non-existence is mumkinul wujud. Whereas wajibul wujud can only accept existence. It cannot accept non-existence. Whereas mustahilul wujud cannot accept existence at all. So memorize any of these types of existence. All these things that we derive from hukm al-aqli, the rational laws, wajib, jaiz and mustahil. So when we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala zat, wajibil wujud, zat, an entity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is entity and attributes. And his existence and he is wajib. This what this definition and he meant. Wajibul wujud. Clear, inshallah? So if a person asks you who is Allah, this is your answer. But if a non-Muslim asks you who is Allah, you have to elaborate. But if a Muslim asks you what he meant, it's not any to tell you that Allah is God. Of course, everybody know any Allah is. Allah is God. But what it is trying to ask you is, what is your understanding on the definition? What is the meaning of this word Allah? Clear, inshallah? Tayyib. So Bismillahi, then we have Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman is Al-Mun'im bi Jala'il Ni'am. The meaning of Ar-Rahman is Al-Mun'im. What is the meaning of Al-Mun'im? Yani Khaliqun Ni'am. Khaliqun Ni'am. The creator of blessing. The meaning of Mun'im is what? The creator of Ni'mah. Khaliqun Ni'mah. Al-Mun'im. So that is why when you say Ar-Rahman has a relation to Qudrah, power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? Because when we speak about Khaliqun Ni'am, the creator of blessings, we speak about the attribute of Qudrah. The power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the power of Allah is the only thing that can give effect. Other than Allah cannot give effect. This is what we study in Qareeb Bahiyya. What did he say? What did he say? وَلَيْسَ لِغَيْرِهِ تَأْثِيرٌ إِلَّا لِلْوَاحِدِ الْغَفَّارِ. Yani nothing any can give ta'thir, nothing any can give any effect except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we say Allah is Ar-Rahman, and meaning He is the only one who bestows blessings and ni'mah. And blessings of Allah are two types. We have the outward and the blessings and the inward blessings. So Ar-Rahman is a manifestation of the outward blessing. Ar-Rahim is the inward any form of blessing. Sometimes we say the general and specific, the universal and the particular. So Allah is Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. A good example and it will be the blessing of Iman. The blessing of Iman is a manifestation of Rahim. Yani because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses whomever He wishes. So this is particular to enter Jannah with Iman. Whereas in Ar-Rahman, we can say, for example, the blessing of health. And Allah give everybody health. The blessing of wealth. The blessing of money. And so on and so forth. And even his enemies, and he blessed them with wealth and health. This is a manifestation of Ar-Rahman. This is the difference between Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. So this is basically the Basmala. Basmala wajib for us to recite when in prayers. In Surah Al-Fatiha. In the Mazhab Imam Shafi'i, Basmala is part of Fatiha. Basmala can be prohibited for us. Haram for us to say the Basmala. And if a person drinks liquor, committing things that is haram, you cannot say Basmala. It becomes haram. Likewise, anything that is makruh, it becomes makruh. But for things that is mubah, you get sawab. For example, before eating and drinking, we say they need the Basmala. We get rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now it becomes a sunnah. For us, I need to recite the Basmala. Can one person read? Inshallah, we get the barakah. Anybody? But the voice must be loud a bit. Read Fathul Qareeb, not the Baijuri. Baijuri, inshallah, one fine day, we slowly, we read, inshallah. Anybody? You want to try? Bismillah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قال الشيخ الإمام العالم العلامة شمس الدين أبو عبد الله محمد بن قاسم القاضي الشافعي نظر الله برحمته ورضوانه آمين. الحمد لله تباركا فاتحة الكتاب لأنها ابتداء كل أمر في بال وخاتمة كل دعاء مجاب وآخر دعوى المؤمنين في الجنة دار الثواب. أحمده أن وفق من أراد من عباده للتشرف في الدين على وفق مراده. وصلي وسلم على أفضل خلقه محمد سيد المرسلين القائل: من يريد الله به خيرا يفقهه في الدين. وعلى آله وصحبه مدة الذاكرين والسهل الغافلين.
Now, this is the first part of the Muqaddimah. And then you see, after that he said, wa ba'du. Whenever you see any wa ba'du, it means that he is changing from one khutbah to another khutbah. From one set of speech to another set of speech. That is called wa ba'du, and it is called faslul khitab. And this is the part of Muqaddimatul Kitab. One of the 8 or one of the 9 is wa ba'du. So now when we take a look at what the author mentioned. After the Basmala, it is mentioned قال الشيخ الإمام العالم العلامة. Who is the one who write this? Is it the author? The answer is no. These are not any of the words of the author yet. The word of the author is the Basmala. But then somebody else wrote this form of introduction to introduce the author as a sign of respect. It can be his student, it can be somebody else who print this book for example. Because normally they do not call themselves as I am the Imam, I am the Allama. Our past ulama, this is not this is not their tradition. That is why it is said Qala Shaykh. Qala Shaykh. So somebody else wrote this. And he is referring to the author. Who is meant by the Shaykh here? Shaykh ibn Qasim. Qala Shaykh. So somebody else wrote this as an honor. As an honor to the author. So he is the Shaykh. What is meant by the Shaykh here? He is a scholar, an alim. Qala Shaykhul Imam. So we have any the word Shaykh, we have any the word any Imam. Al-Imam yani is basically someone any who leads. And in fiqh usually we refer to the Imam in prayers. But here the meaning of Imam is Imam yani in knowledge and piety. A qudwa. Because the ulama are our leaders. And they bring us any to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they are our Imam. So when we say Imam Shafi'i, we are not saying that Imam Shafi'i is an Imam in prayer. What we are referring any as our Imam any in fiqh, in understanding any fiqh, and he is any our leader. The one any who explain any to us any the ahkam. Likewise any Shaykh any Ibn Qasim, he is an Imam. Imam in piety, Imam any in knowledge. And his knowledge any is acknowledged any is something any that is witnessed any by the scholars any of his time. Al-Alim. We have two words here, Al-Alim and Al-Allama. Al-Alim yani comes any from the word Alima, and this is Ismul Fa'il. Correct or not? Alima ya'lamu fahuwa alimun. So an alim any is a person any who knows. But there is a difference any between alim and allama. An alim yani is a person any who knows a particular subject. So for example, if a person is study maths and he knows any mathematics, we say it's alimun. He is an alim in mathematics. But he might not any be knowledgeable any in chemistry. He is alim any in mathematics, but not an alim any in chemistry. But if you say any a person allama, it's different. Yani he mastered many other fields any of knowledge any as well. So this in Arabic and we call it Siratul Mubalagha. Siratul Mubalagha. Al-Allama. Yani a person any who possesses any knowledge, and a person any who mastered many fields any of knowledge. So this word any allama, sometimes any we have to be careful. When we want to associate allama any to someone, we also any have to be careful. Because any allama any is something that is big. Yani in our Islamic any tradition, when you say someone any who is allama, yani his knowledge is witnessed any by the scholars any doing any his time. So sometimes some of our scholars any they are a bit sensitive any to some any of these terminologies any when it is ascribed any to certain any people. Because any there is a difference any by saying a person is alim and a person any who is any allama. Because last time some of our scholars any they put conditions. Who is an allama? Who is any allama? And one of them and he is Al-Imam Al-Mawardi. Al-Imam Mawardi, yani he said that during any his time he doesn't see anyone that has the capacity to be called Allama. Al-Imam Mawardi. Because he said based on my conditions, I don't see. So there is a saying, somebody posted in the WhatsApp group, the sayings of Al-Imam Mawardi. So if this is any Al-Imam Mawardi and during his time, any what about in our time? The saying was saying, if any Imam Mawardi and he were to live in our time, what happens? Because he was speaking about his time. Imam Mawardi and live over 1,000 years ago. Correct. And he doing any time anywhere, the golden age of Islam. Now, so our scholars they have different definitions when it comes to allama. And who is considered to be an allama? They have any different any criteria in the past, but today no problem. Today khalas allama is used quite loosely. Then he mentioned Shamsuddin. All this marfu. Why marfu? Go back to what? Qala. Correct or not? So when you read Qala Shaykhu, a Shaykh fa'il. Correct or not? Al-Imamu. Why al-Imamu follows? This from the Tawabi'. Al-alimu al-allamatu. And then Shamsuddin. This is the nickname. Shamsuddin. Yani the sun of religion. The sun is something that is empowering, powerful, that it gives any light to people. The light of religion, the sun. This is a nickname given to Sheikh Ibn Qasim. Abu Abdullah, this is a kunya. Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Qasim. Then comes his name, Muhammad ibn Qasim. Yani Muhammad bin Qasim Ash-Shafi'i. Yani he ascribed to the madhab of Al-Imam Shafi'i. تغمده الله برحمته. تغمد yani in English we say what? Like shower. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower him and encompass him with his mercy and pleasure. برحمته وَرِضْوَانِهِ آمين. The meaning of Ameen is Allahumma stajib. Allahumma stajib. Oh Allah, answer our prayers. And then comes the sayings of the Imam. Now he begins by saying Alhamdulillah. And he begins by the Hamdallah. That's what we mentioned. After the Basmala comes the Hamdallah. So all this thing before this is in between in brackets. Somebody else he speaks about him. Tamam? So now he begins by saying Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tabarrukan bi Fatihatil Kitab. What is the meaning? He said that I say this Hamdallah as a form of tabarruk. Tabarruk comes from the word barakah. To attain barakah. By what? Barakah by following the sequence of Fatihatul Kitab. What is meant by Fatihatul Kitab is Suratul Fatiha. If you look in the Quran, Allah begins by the Basmala followed by the Hamdallah. So the author is saying, I'm doing the same thing. Tamam? I am doing the same thing as what Allah began the Kitab. By the Basmala and the Hamdallah. Why I'm doing this? Tabarukan. So I get barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And barakah is very important. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us in everything that we do, ask Allah for barakah. Correct or not? That is why our ulama always emphasize on the importance of tabarruk. Even today, we find this thing also people are confused about. But this is Islam. Islam taught us the importance of barakah. Barakah before you work. To get barakah in your workplace. To get barakah the things you eat. The things that you drink. The places that you go. The decision that you make. How are we able to get barakah in every of our actions? The Prophet taught us, begin by the Basmala. Kulu amrin zibal. This is also quoted going to be quoted by the author later. Kullu amrin zibal la yubda'u fihi bi bismillahirrahmanirrahim fahu aqta. Yani everything of importance that is not begun by the Basmala, what happens? Aqta. It is cut off. Cut off from barakah. No barakah. If a person eat and drink, no Basmala, no barakah. So how we need to get any barakah? We recite the Basmala before we eat, before we drink, when we want to wear our clothes, before we sleep, when we wake up from our sleep. It is a sunnah you need to say the Basmala to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we remember Allah, Allah remember us, and Allah bless us with His mercy. Then we attain any blessings from Allah and barakah. Allah and He can also bless our children and our wives and our families. All these are important things. Then He mentioned li'annaha, he said why tabarukan is important, to get this tabaruk and to begin with Fatihatul Kitab. He said li'annaha ibtida'u kulli amrin zibal, because this hamdallah, and he's referring to hamdallah because we have another hadith when it comes to hamdallah to the nearest meaning. The Prophet mentioned those who began something without a hamdallah, yani will not any get any barakah. So by beginning any something by the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also make us any attain any barakah. Not only any the basmala, but also the hamdalah. لأنها ابتداء كل أمر ذي بال وخاتمة كل دعاء مجاب. And this can go back any to the hamdalah, it can go back any to both any hamdalah and basmala. Because both any basmala and hamdalah, we call it ibtida. One is ibtida haqiqi, one is ibtida idafi. Ibtida, what is the meaning of ibtida? Yani something to begin with. The basmala and the hamdalah. And both any we have hadith that Allah will give barakah if you begin with the basmala or you begin with the hamdalah. But the best any is to follow the Fatihatul Kitab, as what the author any mentioned, goes back any to the basmala and the hamdalah. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he taught us about this, he said, when we begin every important actions, wa khatimatu kulli du'a, and it is also the khatima of every dua. This is referring to the hamdalah, correct not? It is a sunnah before we close our dua, we say walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, ameen. Yani after yani we begin in the basmala, hamdalah, salawat upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we make our dua. How do we close our dua? We close any the dua by making salawat upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and lastly hamdalah. Tamam? So he said this is the closing. So it is the opening and it is the closing. So the opening and we ask Allah for barakah, the closing and also and we ask Allah for barakah. Dua in mujab. Mujab here meaning answered prayers. Mujab comes any from the word ajaba. So mujab and ismul maf'ul from the word ajaba. Ajaba yujibu fa huwa mujib. Fadhaka mujab. Wa akhiru da'wal mu'minin fil jannah. Because in the Quran Allah say wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Yani this is any the dua when the mu'minin enter into Jannah. Daris sawab. Fil jannati daris sawab. Correct or not? Yani, what is the meaning of daris sawab? Yani the abode of sawab. Sawab any is rewards. Because in Jannah any is a place that Allah will bless you with the rewards. For all the things any that you have done any in your life, in this dunya. The rewards any comes any in Jannah. Ahmaduhu an waffaqa man arada min ibadihi. Yani I praise any Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he said, why? An waffaqa man arada min ibadihi litafaqquhi fid din. I praise any Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the tawfiq. An waffaqa. Yani tawfiq any means what? Yani Allah yani give this ability to people to understand any from his religion. Comes any from the word waffaqa yuwaffiqu tawfiqan. Yani to bestow. To bestow any this ability in people, his creations. Man arada min ibadihi, those any whom he wants any from amongst any his servants, to what? Littafaqquhi fid din. Then here any we have any the word tafaqquh. Tafaqqaha yatafaqqahu. Tafaqquhan. Al-Imam Malik and he mentioned man tafaqqaha wa ma tasawwafa faqad tafassaqa. Tafaqqaha yani meaning to study fiqh. Tamam? Tafaqqaha meaning to study the knowledge any of fiqh. And when a person and he studied knowledge any of fiqh, it is a big ni'mah. That it is a sign of tawfiq from Allah. This is what the author is saying. When a person find himself any understanding the religion, this is a sign that Allah loves you. This is a sign that Allah wants goodness for you. How do you know? The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ coming. Correct or not? How do we know that Allah loves us? Look at your situation. Do you love knowledge? Are you a person and who always equip any yourself with the understanding any of deen? Then it shows that Allah loves you. So he said, I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this ni'mah, that he bless this understanding of tafaqqu to those any amongst his chosen servants. Ala wafqi muradihi, based on his will. Wafqi muradihi, because everything happens any by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the irada. In aqidah we say irada is what? Takhsis. Correct? Iradah ini is what? Sifatun azaliyatun tukhassisul mumkina. So when you speak any about Allah's will, any meaning, Allah specifies for you. So you are special. And if you have this understanding of deen, you are special. Because Allah has specified for you goodness. Tamam? Litafaqquhi fi din ala wafqi muradihi wa usalli wa usallim. Then he brings any salawat. This is part of the muqaddimah, correct? Basmala, hamdala, salawat any upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But before that, I want to explain bara'atul istihlal. One of it is bara'atul istihlal. Let me explain this before we close. Bara'atul istihlal meaning the author mentioned something in relation to the field of knowledge that he is speaking about in the muqaddimah. So now when the author is writing a book in fiqh, so what do he say in the muqaddimah? This is what he said. He said, Ahmaduhu an waffaqa man arada min ibadihi litafaqquhi fid din. Yani, he puts in the hamdalah. He said that I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why are you praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because Allah bless His servants, tafaqquh. Now we say this is bara'atul istihlal. Yani, he is telling us that this book is on fiqh. Yani, just by reading the muqaddimah, I know that he is going to write the book in fiqh. For example, if I only read the muqaddimah and I'm trying to make a guess, what book any is the author's writing about, I can know by looking at the muqaddimah, because he used the word tafaqquh. So I know that the author is speaking about knowledge of fiqh. Just now in Qareeb Bahiyya, Sheikh Ahmad Dardir, for example, he said, Yaqulu Raji Rahmat al-Qadiri, ay Ahmadul al-Mashhur bi-Dardiri. And then he mentioned Rahmat al-Qadiri, Yaqulu Raji Rahmat al-Qadiri. Correct? We say this is bara'atul istihlal because he used one of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-Qadir. And this is part of bara'atul istihlal. We know that he is speaking about aqidah. But here, when the author mentioned, I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because Allah, for the fact that Allah has blessed all of some people by His will, the ability to understand knowledge. Then we understand in this word in tafaqquh speaks about the knowledge of fiqh. So this is called what? Bara'atul istihlal. Clear inshallah? So what is bara'atul istihlal? It is any sentences that tells you about the subject that is concerned by the author in the muqaddimah. And this is part of balagha. Knowledge in your balagha, before you give your sermon, you give the muqaddimah, you tell the person who is hearing what you are going to speak about. So that person is prepared. That person is prepared. Clear inshallah? Yani in the muqaddimah, if you speak about animals, so people will think what? He is going to speak about something that has relation with some type of animal. Allahu alam. Correct or not? If in the muqaddimah you speak about aqidah or people know, okay, you are going to speak about aqidah. So bara'atul istihlal give the listener attentiveness, preparation. Now, wa usalli wa usallim, then comes any salawat upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wallahu alam bis-sawab. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.